Hello everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today we are going to learn about modal verbs. This is going to be a traditional presentation and I hope it's not going to be overwhelming, but you can rewatch it again and again. So we're talking about modal verbs. Modal verbs have different functions. These are not all of them. We can use them for different purposes. Some of the most typical ones are ability, obligation, advice. Can you remember some examples where we use the modal verbs for advice? We're going to get to that a little bit later. Let's start with the first example. If we want to say that he is able to twirl very fast, which modal are we going to use? And which function is this? He can twirl very fast. All right. This is ability. What about this one? Is this ability? Permission. Do I have your permission to open this window? What can you say? You can use many modals for this one. For example, may I open this window? Or can I open this window? You can also use could. Could I open this window? That's also fine. Be kind. So now I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking from you. This is not a so I'm asking you to open the window. Please. Yeah, you can say, can you please? Would you please? Or could you please? So now we're using it for the request. But notice that here we are not going to say, may you please. May is different in this particular example. All right, so now I'm positive it's for sure that you're thrilled, you're happy, you're glad because you have graduated. What are we gonna say? You must be thrilled. Yes. So here we're expressing certainty. Now, this example is very similar. I'm also sure, I'm also certain, but in this case, that she isn't hungry. Are we going to say she must not be hungry? She can't be hungry. You will see that we can use can for many different functions. For example, you have an option. There we had the impossibility, and now we have the possibility. It is possible for you to go outside. This is similar to ability, I would say. But here we're not expressing the skill, we are just expressing an option. You have a chance, an option, an alternative. You don't have to be here. You can go outside. All right, so now we're getting into something else. There are some rules that we have to follow. Bring your passport. You have to bring your passport. It is obligatory. It is an obligation. Now we're not so sure, right? We are guessing. Maybe it may be too expensive. It might be too expensive for me. You can also use will for speculations. For example, I think it will be too expensive. But if we are expressing the future, all right, so I'm here to help you. Let me help you. Which modal verb will you use? I'll help you. We call this also spontaneous decisions. Just on the spot, you decide that you will help them. So you say, I'll open the window. I'll help you. No problem. How would you ask? Do you want some coffee by using a modal verb? Yes. Would you like some coffee? This is a polite way of asking, do you want? Would you like? Here we are offering something to another person. Okay, this is similar, but now I'm not offering it to you. I would like it to offer it to myself. So I'm kind of asking for your permission and approval, basically. I'm inviting myself to this situation. So, shall we eat? Shall we go to the beach? Shall I help you? Instead of asking, will I help you? Shall I? It's important to note that shall is nowadays only used in questions. We don't normally use it in positives and statements unless it's something archaic, old-fashioned, some kind of traditional language. All right, so here, this looks like a piece of advice. What would we say here? Which one would we use? Should. You should wear gloves. It's cold outside. Okay, so there are three basic rules that we usually talk about in class about the modal verbs. They apply to all modal verbs. Have to is here just to be like a supplement to must, but this rule does not apply to have to because we say she has to bring the passport, for example. So have to has two forms, for one for I have to, you have to, but the other one for she, he, and it. So all of this, we don't change them. We don't add the S or the ED for the past, right? They only have one form. So, for example, open, twirl, bring, wear, all of those verbs that we saw in the examples were base forms. So the infinitive without to. And of course, if we want to form a negative or a question, then we use the auxiliary. So we don't say you should, don't wear gloves, or do I, can open the window, for example. We don't use the other auxiliaries be, do, and have to form questions and negatives, but we use the modals. So, shall we? She won't. She will not. Mustn't. I shan't. This is very old-fashioned. Sounds very weird. Okay, let's go on. There are some other verbs that behave sometimes like the modals, but they are not always used as modal verbs. They can be used in different environments. For example, ought to. It's similar to have to, but it means should. You ought to bring your jacket. It's cold outside. You should bring your jacket. This one functions as the advice. And it doesn't change for different persons. Need to, we can sometimes use he needs to, so we will sometimes change it, but we can say you needn't bring your gloves because it's warm outside. So need will be a little bit hybrid between the modal and the full verb. And of course, we need to have, sometimes when it's the negative, we will say you needn't worry, but you need to worry. I dare not speak. I dare say. I have the courage to say. You'd better bring your wallet. So this is like a recommendation or advice. And this one doesn't change. The apostrophe D stands for had, but we never use it as the full. We only use it in this way. You'd better not stay out late, for example. All right, so we said that we don't change the modals, we don't add ed to them in order to create the past. So how do we create the past? Well, we put it in something like the perfect form. So we put have and the past participle of the main verb after them. So she must have been tired. I have to say that could can actually replace can in the past. So I could sing well when I was young. We should have gone home early. We're talking about last night here. I can't have made a mistake. I couldn't have made a mistake. It's the same thing here. Of course, we're not going to use will or shall with this because they are kind of representatives of the future. In the next slide, we will talk about this a little bit. And have to, of course, we're not going to say I have. It doesn't make any sense. So we're not going to use have to create the past because have has the past, which is had, right? I had to go outside because my mom made me. So have to has is an irregular verb, so it's going to have a normal past tense. And of course, if we add have and past participle to will, this is something we call the future perfect. You're going to learn about this on some higher levels. It means that by the time in future something will be done. So in the same way as we have the present perfect, which means up to now something has been done, but up to August, and August is in future, they will have graduated, they will have finished high school, they will have passed the exams, they will have bought the car, because we are expecting something to happen up until that point. But if you're not on a higher level, don't worry about this. You're going to learn about that somewhere on the intermediate or upper intermediate level. And to end this, modal verbs are a little bit weird sometimes, might seem a little bit complicated, but of course, you can't live without them. We use them all the time, so just accept them. Try to get your teacher to give you more examples. If you don't understand them, of course, ask here in the comments and we'll explain it to you. I hope this was useful and see you in the next video. Bye!